Greetings everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Plan B Success. Inflation is a term that is getting thrown around a lot nowadays. It seems like everyone is talking about it and everyone has an opinion on how to combat it. I believe you do not need to be as worried about inflation since there are ways to protect yourself from the effects of inflation. The basic meaning of inflation is an increase in prices, although it is just one of the effects of inflation, but with the most profound impact. Inflation refers to a rise in general price levels that occurs when there is a sustained increase in the amount of money created or made available, resulting in an excess quantity of money looking to purchase goods. The demand for goods increases along with supply until prices reach a point where either no more buyers can be found or sellers refuse to make any further sales. This is called full employment, and is probably the best definition you will find of it. Inflation can also be referred to as currency devaluation, and is a term that pertains not just to money but any form of currency, which includes all government-issued currencies such as the US dollar, Canadian dollar, euro, etc. Each country has its own inflation rate. Don't be worried about inflation because it isn't something you can do anything about. If your income remains stagnant in relation to inflation, then in terms of buying power, you're actually getting poorer. For this reason, try to look for ways to increase your income. When you do this, make sure it's a legal way. There are many crazy schemes out there that claim to help people make lots of money in a short period of time, but these usually end up being scams. The best way to combat inflation is with good old-fashioned hard work and saving your money. Try not to spend more than you need to. One way to combat inflation is by investing in things that will retain their value after the prices rise, such as gold or silver. Inflation does not affect everyone in the same way. Everyone's situation is different, and it's important to understand this as a starting point. In order to combat inflation, you must first recognize how it affects your life specifically. Here are three main areas that can be affected by inflation: your income, your investments, your savings. Your income may not increase in line with the inflation rate, meaning that more of your money will be needed to pay for things. This can leave you feeling like you're getting poorer and struggling financially. Companies who offer pensions will often use the Retail Price Index (RPI) to adjust their contributions accordingly. If this is about 3%, you may feel your pension pot is not increasing as much as you would hope. Your investments are likely to be hit by inflation unless the investment counters inflation. For example, if you put money into a bank account that has an interest rate of 3% and inflation is at 4%, then the real value of the original deposit will actually decrease. This is because when you start withdrawing your money, inflation will have increased the price of goods to a point where you need more money in order to afford them. The final area that can be affected by inflation is your savings. If your savings do not also increase along with the rate of inflation, they are likely to decrease in real value. This is because the money you have saved will not be able to purchase as many goods and services. There are numerous ways that inflation can affect your investments, income, or savings. The most common of these is through interest rates through loans, credit cards, or mortgages. It is also possible for inflation to affect how much you pay for goods and services. For example, if you're buying a house, then the interest rates on your mortgage will be affected by the rate of inflation. If you're taking out any kind of loan or finance agreement, it is likely that this will have an interest rate coupled to inflation so it increases along with inflation. Wherever possible, you should try to combat inflation by increasing your income or making sure that it at least rises in line with the inflation rate. For example, you could get a better paid job if your current circumstances allow for this. You may also be able to combat rising costs by spending less money on certain things and using the savings elsewhere. This can often be done without having a major impact on your quality of life. It is also advised that you closely monitor inflation and, if necessary, seek out ways to combat it. For example, by making sure that your investments counter inflation effectively. Please note that no investment is likely to be totally safe from the effects of inflation, even with the most effective inflation-proof investment. You should always ensure that you're financially aware and in control of your own money, no matter what personal circumstances you may find yourself in. Hey, I hope you liked this episode. Go check out the others, and you'll find inspiring content there as well. And do share and subscribe and make sure you spread the word. Thank you.